Could you give me some examples of the military aggression that your country has suffered from Russia in the last 10 years?
Well, probably the most prominent example is the kidnapping of
Right.
the equivalent of our FBI, who was investigating a massive cross-border cigarette smuggling operation,
Right.
which could not take place without the connivance of the FSB, since they managed the border.
So you had a corrupt situation of corruption at the border. One of your border guards disappeared. I mean, military aggression. Has there been any cross-border at all of military action on the part of the Russians in Estonia?
Well, we have constant violations of our border by military jets. That's
Right.
one thing, and that's consistent, but has massively increased in the last 4 years.
I went to the Baltics about 3 years ago after I hear story after story after story of Russian military aggression in the Baltics. I'm sure all of you have heard that slogan before. Not one report of actual military aggression. And here we are sending our tanks up there, having B-52 mock raids on Russia over Estonia toward the Soviet capital in the name of stopping Soviet military aggression that never existed. This has got to stop, or we're going to end up in war. We've got to let's try to have a little balanced view of what's going on here. Mr. Chairman, I would ask 15 seconds more from my colleagues, just as a look. The United States, we have engaged in some of these activities. We have. Do you remember the Phoenix program in Vietnam? I remember the Phoenix program. I supported the Phoenix program. We murdered hundreds of local officials. How about Allende? How about Diem? How about any number of people during the Cold War that we assassinated? Okay, that's wrong. It's wrong to do that.
The gentleman's time
but
has
please
expired.
do not say that Russia is the only country that commits these kind of crimes.
If I may, Mr. President, in your response to Mr. Rohrabacher, surely you could have cited more than cigarette smuggling. Is it not true that the Russians have been testing airspace in the Baltics in a provocative way, testing NATO defenses and, for that matter, your own respective defenses?
Thank you. Well, I didn't get to finish, but that was a military action. Troops came over and kidnapped this guy. This was not done. I mean, there were
Russian troops
FSB, KGB troops. They have
violating your sovereign space.
our territory, and they took him.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, more broadly, we have massive. We have there on the other side of the border. We see constant, massive exercises. Zapad is a name of an exercise that takes place every 2 years. You know, violating through various techniques.
And real quickly, Mr. President, because I'm going to run out of Albiocera's time. These were provocations generated on the other side of the border, not on your side of the border.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Because I think there was a suggestion by my friend from California that it was the other way around. That's not true.
I'll just add quickly that but it's not just us. I mean, they do mock bombing raids on Sweden. So it's not just us.